YouTube, welcome to Fred's Full Throttle. In today's video, I'm going to tell you all about the least expensive way to get into car racing, as well as how you can get started for as little as a few $100s. Seriously, you can do it, literally now, without any experience, a car, or even much money. Let's dive in. Real quickly before we start, I'm continuing on the path of ramping up my video output, aiming to make videos a little bit more often as I find cool things to cover. A few of you have asked what this means for my overall content, and I'd like to give a quick summary. Previously, my channel has been primarily Corvette content, focused heavily on the C8 Z06 and the broader C8 world. Since I have a reservation in on the Z06, it was pretty easy to get caught up in that side of things, and week after week share the latest news, observations, and analysis of the entire Z06 world. But as I've decided to keep my C7 and can't responsibly afford to have the C8 Z06, I took a long hard look at my videos and decided to start pivoting a little bit. I'd long envisioned my channel to be about me exploring the world of cars, bikes, and motorsports, sharing my excitement as I dive in. There have been some tastes of that, such as the Porsche Experience Center video that I did last year. But this time around, I'm going to be focusing much more on that rather than the latest news. Occasionally, I may cover the Z06 or newer Corvettes, but only if I find that there is something that really interests me. Going forward, this channel is going to be more focused on me exploring the world of driving and riding and sharing that experience with all of you. I hope you find this exciting and fun and come along for the drive. So back to car racing. Car racing is expensive. Really, really expensive. Take other expensive hobbies, maybe watch collecting, owning a boat, or golfing. Add all of those together and then throw some money on top of that. That's just scratching the surface of what racing cars cost. Between the car, the consumables, support equipment, travel, racing fees, and licenses, and of course the inevitable repairs, you can easily spend well into the six figures just to get started. So what if I told you that you can get into car racing for way less? That you don't need to have racing experience or even a car, and for likely somewhere between a few $100 to $1,000 or so, you can get into racing. Yes, you, literally, you watching this video right now, at whatever stage of life you're in, as long as you're old enough to drive a car, you can be doing it. Enter 24 Hours of Lemons. For the last 11 months or so on my channel, I've talked about lemons, told you about the car that me and my friends are building, and followed the process as we navigate that. For those who haven't been following along, or who maybe haven't heard of it, here's the elevator pitch. To enter Lemons, you need to buy a car for $500 or less. Get 3 or 4 of your friends, or some strangers from the internet, more on that later, and form a team. You can sell off parts of the car that you don't need for racing, like the interior, the passenger seat, the sunroof, etc., to earn back money. But that $500 expense is the only money you can spend on both the car and any performance modifications. So you buy a car for $700, but you can sell the rear seats for $200. That's now a $500 car. You get the idea. You want to put a performance cold air intake on it? Better sell the stereo and the emergency jack for $100. Now you have a $500 car with an air intake. You get the point. Next, you need to turn it into a race car. The trick is that the $500 budget doesn't apply to safety equipment or driver comfort. So you can add a roll cage, electrical shutoffs, a fire suppression system, a race seat, a harness, and such into the car, and it's starting to take shape. Then come up with a wild, creative theme for the car, the sillier the better, use some rattle cans and spare parts to decorate it, and suddenly you have a race car for Lemons. You do need to have all the right safety gear, so an SA 2020 rated helmet, a fire rated driver's suit, gloves, undergarments, etc. Those do count towards that couple $100 I mentioned at the start of the video, but that's separate from the $500 for the car. But what about you? Literally you right now watching this video. Surely you can't just have the driver's gear and start racing, right? Wrong. See, the thing is that there are a lot of people out there who have a car, the mechanical know-how, and the drive, but don't actually have enough people to start a team. The Lemons forums and Facebook groups are full of posts of car and team looking for more drivers, and solo driver looking to join a team. Now, the cost for entry may be paying a proportional amount towards the total cost of the build, or a few $100 for a turnkey driving slot, all the way down to nothing but some time helping work on the car, literally just turning a wrench or helping out. And don't worry, if you haven't done that before, they'll teach you how to work on their car. Now, there are entry fees for each race and an annual racing license to buy, $100 per year, but you can actually get in and drive for under $1,000. And this isn't just putting around on some go-kart track for a few minutes. This is driving on real racetracks in heavy traffic at speed for hours. Not only that, but then you can legitimately call yourself a race car driver. Imagine being able to put that on your resume, or tell your friends, or drop that in casual conversation. You're now an even cooler person than you already were. So anyone who's been watching my channel for the last year knows that myself and my team of 3 other friends are building a manual 2001 BMW 330 Ci into our Lemons car. We've been working on it for 11 months now, and the end is nearly in sight. We're wrapping up the welding for the roll cage, we've got the electrical just about done, and are finalizing all the last little bits of fabrication work. We had intended this year to race at Loudon, New Hampshire. However, time got the best of us. While we couldn't drive in this year's race, we decided to attend the race and see what it was all about. The idea was to do some heavy recon, take pictures, talk to everyone, and learn as much as we could so that we're better prepared for next year. And by finishing the car over the winter, we'll be able to dive right into racing first thing in the spring. So Loudon is actually called New Hampshire Motor Speedway, NHMS. Best known for the annual NASCAR race that happens each year, many don't realize that Loudon hosts all manner of both car and bike track days and racing events, which make use of track extensions that leave the main facility, as well as crisscross the infield of the main oval. When configured for road racing, like for the Lemons race, Loudon becomes a challenging 1.6 mile road course circuit with 12 corners and some significant elevation changes. So yesterday, we showed up about an hour before the race, saw the drivers meeting, walked through the pits, talked to a bunch of teams, and then spent several hours watching the first half of the first day of racing. For anyone who is even remotely interested in cars or racing, you would love it. The cars themselves are a whole spectrum, from very professionally built, clean race cars to homegrown specials to true Frankenstein cars which shouldn't work, but somehow do. For example, we saw an old Ford sedan that was powered by 2 separate air-cooled motorcycle engines which protruded from the hood. This wasn't your run-of-the-mill straight 8. It was something much more insane and interesting. Each engine was an air-cooled 1200cc inline 4 from a motorcycle. They were mated in line to the actual driveline from the motorcycles, complete with the original clutches. That was then connected to the Ford driveline from the car. Behind the steering wheel of the car was a motorcycle handybar with the clutch levers for each engine, one on each side. The starting procedure goes something like this. Pull in one motorcycle clutch and start that engine. Pull in the second motorcycle clutch and start that engine. Now both engines are running. Press in the floor clutch pedal for the Ford transmission. Now release both motorcycle clutches. At this point, the car functions more like a normal regular car, and you can drive it more or less like normal using the standard Ford transmission. We learned a lot as we wandered through the paddock. Nothing was off limits, and we could walk right up to any team and look at their car, take pictures, talk with them, and ask questions. Still 20 minutes till start.
Current time is 9:39.
Oh yeah. That's a Cobra front. We learned a lot of really helpful things that'll make our own first attempt that much easier. We definitely took lots of pictures of garage setups, car setups, and anything else that we thought might help avoid rookie mistakes or to help us have the best time possible with our first race. One of the best things that we found was that everyone, and I mean everyone from a turn marshal to a judge to a driver, is there and happy to help and encouraged us on our own racing efforts. They were all friendly and more than happy to talk about the cars, answer questions, and give advice. We were constantly shocked and impressed that people would talk to us literally minutes from rolling out onto the track. We also saw that everyone was there to help everyone, sharing tools, giving spare parts, and helping resolve last-minute issues so that everyone could race. We talked to one driver, for example, who had had some welds fail tech inspection, but thanks to another team that he was competing against, they brought their welding gear and were able to have a last-minute re-weld performed, and that car was able to make the opening flag. The race, in a nutshell, it was amazing. It was a spectacle to behold. There were 123 cars entered, and it's a rolling start. They kept feeding cars out onto the track, and literally there was a car about every 50 feet around the entire track, all driving along at about 20 or 30 miles an hour. Then they were off. It was absolutely magical to watch. Cars were diving into corners 3 cars wide, sometimes 4 cars wide. The cacophony of sounds was unlike anything I've ever heard. The speed really was faster than what I expected from looking at the cars. I'd say that cars were easily around 100 on the straight and probably 50 to 70 around anywhere else on the rest of the track. In short, pretty darn fast for any car that you can buy for $500. One other thing that really struck me was how respectful and clean the driving was. The drivers' meeting hammered this point home, talking about penalties and the 3 strikes rule for being ejected from the event, and it seemed like that was really respected by all the racers. Out of the 4 hours of racing that we watched, I didn't see any bumping or rubbing with the exception of one minor collision that pushed 2 cars off the track. Despite the incredible volume of cars and the tight turns on the course, everyone followed the rules and the whole event was better for it. It made everything that much more enjoyable to watch. There were a few caution flags thrown, and most were for cars that broke down rather than an accident, and everything just flowed smoothly. In short, it was a truly wonderful experience and really reinvigorated us and our team. So what's next for us? Well, we're going to finish up the car this winter and get it race ready. Then the tentative plan for next year is that we're going to try to attend 2 or 3 races. We're eyeing NJMP, Thompson, and Loudon as our 3 venues, racing in June, August, and October respectively. However, before the first race, we're going to try to enter several track days and autocross events with the car, ideally find and fix any weak points and get some seat time in so we learn the handling, performance, and feel of the car. We all feel, now that we have the time, that's the best way to give ourselves the best chance of success when we race. Our goal for our races is to finish at least one, which isn't assured with a 22-year-old car assembled by a bunch of friends. I hope you find this video interesting and fun, and even more, I hope it convinces at least one person to consider giving lemons a try. I know when I first heard about lemons years ago, I was like, why would I want to drive some junky cars around? But upon learning about what it really is and what it's all about, and especially now having seen it in person, I completely get it. Attending the race yesterday was a highlight for me, and I want to be a part of it. So thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this, and until next time, Fred out!